items is today lower than it was a year ago. It is a fact. Lakini, of course, it's not convenient for certain people to accept. That's number one. Number two, globally, where is Kenya? Uchumi wa numbers, and these are not my figures. We've brought down inflation from 9 point something to now 6.8. Those are figures, global figures of the World Bank. Number two, our economy is growing at 5.4%. Not my figures, World Bank figures, right? In fact, they quote Kenya is the 29th fastest growing economy globally. Those are figures out there. Of course, many people don't want to accept. I know that there is still no money in people's pockets. Uchumi wa mfuko bado ndio bado. Yeah?
Utakuwa lini?
Are we doing something about it? Yes. That is why we're spending more money in education. Yeah? We're putting more money in education. In fact, this year we are putting an extra 120 billion in education. To do what? To make sure that we reduce outlay by Kenyans to fund education. Number two, we are putting more money in health. That is why we've passed 4 laws. What do we want to do? We want to make sure every ordinary citizen has a health insurance. Those who are paying 500 will come down to 300. We are going to make sure that we don't leave nobody behind. That is why I am going out of my way to create jobs. Today, as I talk to you, because you need to put money in people's pockets. Today, as I talk to you, 120,000 people are working in a housing program. Today, as I talk to you, we are working on export of labor, making sure that we connect Kenyans to jobs abroad. Today, as I talk to you, we are expanding the space of digital jobs. We just passed the law so that we can create ICT hubs across Kenya. I have already negotiated for digital jobs globally. Kenyans are very good at it. We are going to spread opportunities so that people can put money in their pockets. So that's why I'm saying we need a plan. You know, it is easy to say, let us do quick fixes. We have been doing quick fixes for a long time, and we haven't gotten it right. Many people wanted me to do a quick fix by subsidizing unga. I told them, let us not subsidize unga. Let us promote production. We will eventually get the right results better.
Mheshimiwa Rais, awali kulikuwa na mazingira mazuri pengine ya kufanyia biashara. Tunavyoona sasa, sijui kama palikoseka wapi, pengine unaweza kutueleza, manake kulikuwa na mazingira mazuri ya kufanya biashara. Kuna takwimu ambazo zimetolewa hata na FKE nadhani wakisema kwamba kuna makampuni ama kuna Wakenya takriban 70,000 ambao wameachishwa kazi. Katika serikali yako mheshimiwa, palikoseka nini haswa pale mpaka mazingira ya kufanya kazi yakawa magumu kiasi cha kwamba 84% ya Wakenya wanasema kwamba maisha ni magumu, na hizi ni takwimu ambazo ziko zaidi ya 50 kwa mara ya kwanza katika Mkenya kusema kwamba maisha ni magumu na pesa haionekani.
Na tukisalia hapo Mr. President, because it's just based on what she said, are you aware that 87% of Kenyans, your people, Mr. President, that is 9 out of 10, have opted to reduce on personal expenditure because of the current economy? Watu wana opt kutokula, which is what we're talking about, uchumi ya tumbo. They're foregoing food because of the current situation.
Good. I want you to read a clip or even a text. It was in the Standard. 10 months after Kibaki became president, the same number of Kenyans said NAC and President Kibaki had made their life worse than ever because Kibaki decided to make the right decisions, not popular decisions, right? 10 months after he was president. We are in the same space. But let me tell you the following. That it is true. We are facing a difficult situation. We are facing a difficult situation because that is the global situation. But are we doing something about it? Yes, we are doing something about it. Is it bearing results? Yes, it's bearing results. The price of food is coming down because of our intervention, by God's grace. The global economy is appreciating what Kenya is doing. Let me go to FKE. FKE said 70,000 Kenyans have lost jobs or have gotten out of jobs. Part of those 70,000 Kenyans, for your information, are teachers who are working in private schools, who we have hired as government. Now they are teaching in, we have hired 56,000 teachers as teachers. We have hired an additional 120,000 people working in our housing program. We have a plan to make sure that we keep increasing. We have only 31 sites of our housing program. We have another 34 that will be rolled out the first quarter of next year. By the end of next year, we will have between 200 and 250,000 Kenyans working. So the economy is adjusting towards where we want to go. We do not want to be an export destination for others. We also want to produce what we should be producing. And that is why we are working on the difficult patch for now so that we can stabilize the future.
Kwa hivyo Mheshimiwa Rais, unakubali kwamba Wakenya 70,000 kweli walifutwa kazi ama walikosa kazi?
Sikubali, wao ndio wamesema. Mimi nimekuambia.
Na wakaandikwa na serikali. Kumaanisha ni makampuni yaliyo humu pengine yalifunga wakatoka ndo wakaja wakaandikwa na serikali, ama hawa walikuwa ni wa kutoka wapi?
Waacha sasa nikwambie, wale wamesema, yale wamesema. What I have told you is what I can vouch. Have I hired 56,000 teachers? Yes. Are there 120,000 people working in our housing program? Yes. So as to what on FKE side, you need to verify the figures.
Mr. President, Sam, just 1 second. You have talked about pain and that Kenyans need to, appreciate the pain and the process like President Kibaki did. And State House and where you sit, you set the tone for whatever government agencies and officers below you do.
That's correct.
And you are asking Kenyans to be patient. You're asking Kenyans to tighten their belt. But if you look at your administration and State House, to be specific, and other officials, look at foreign travel has been up 26% just this ending quarter to 1.1 billion. And Kenyans are feeling quite taxed. And the hustlers that you represent are looking around the numbers that we are discussing today, and they're wondering, where have we missed this? Because on one end, you're asking Kenyans to be, to bear with government, to tighten their belts. The Treasury is saying things are bad. You're saying you're preventing us from, going off the cliff. But on the other end, the extravagance in government is really still heavy. How do you reconcile these two situations?
I will answer you this way. Go and look at the budget. We have cut by 50% the budget for travel and entertainment. 50%, right? In the supplementary budget, just go and check the figures. That is about 11 billion shillings that we have reduced. Have I traveled more than the former presidents? Yes. And I have traveled not as a tourist. I have traveled to sort out the matters of Kenya. If I didn't package what I have packaged to salvage our country from going over the cliff, we'd be talking a different story. Would you rather I sit in Nairobi and see Kenya go down, or would you rather I go to America, and America has really supported us in making sure that we structure a deal with World Bank and IMF? Would I travel to China to make sure that we structure the bilateral deal that will see all our roads come back? Would you rather I don't travel, or I travel to South Korea to sort out the problem you see in our in our electricity space, that we now have money to do what the investment we have not done in the last 10 years in our energy transmission. The reason why you find the blackouts, and is the challenge we have with our transmission infrastructure. And I have found resources to now sort that out. So would you rather I sit here or I look for the bilateral agreements that will give Kenyans an opportunity to work abroad and to work at home on digital jobs? This is what a president is supposed to do. And I can account for every shilling that I have spent on my travel. And let me say this. On the budget of State House, there were so many things around the State House, including the famous NMS. Part of the money that was being allocated to State House was to pay contracts, NMS contracts, and many other things, which I have said must stop. And because I want to lead the way in making sure that we manage what eventually is destroying our country called bending bills. And for your information, we have 506 billion of pending bills. I need to lead the way. That's why I instructed staff in State House that State House must be the first one to clear pending bills. Most of the monies that have come here is to sort out NMS and all the other people that were here. And I have said those infrastructure should be transferred to the parent ministries. State House must deal with State House matters.
Mr. President, we've spoken about three issues. We've spoken about the Kenyan shilling and how it's behaving against the major currencies, global currencies. We've spoken a bit of energy and what is happening in the field sector. We also touched on cost of living. We have so much to cover tonight, and I just seek your indulgence that we can be first in our responses, but also the questions. That question that you say we were on a cliff, debt cliff, and now we are no longer there. Recently, you posted on your X account, ready in the next few years. Why then have a debt anchor of 55% to the GDP, which you're already busting?
For your information, and it's a very good question you've asked, most of that money we have negotiated will actually replace. We are getting money at 2-3%. We are replacing it with money we are paying 15-16%. And the killer on our debt is the interest, the amounts of interest we are paying. It's not even the principal that is a big problem. It is the amount of interest we are paying. Because if you are paying interest at 16, I think the euro went to 20% at some point, that is what is destroying our economy. So we are not necessarily increasing the debt portfolio. We are substituting debt that is expensive just so that it is manageable, and then it can give us the space to be able to grow our economy. That is the context. Mm-hmm. So what the international community have supported me to do is to replace the Eurobond, which is $2 billion. Yeah, $2 billion of very expensive money at 20%, with money that we can manage at 2-3%. That is the difference. And by just doing that, we will save on the 7 shillings we are paying for every 10 we collect to pay debt. That will significantly come down. So that is what that's what I am doing, because that is what is feasible as we talk. As I embark on growing the economy. And growing the economy is investing in the right place, making sure that our agricultural production is up to the scale. It is the reason why I am improving the whole agriculture chain. I'm building 400 markets. I promised Mama Mboga that they will do a business in a good place. Building 400 markets. I am building 47 county aggregation and industrial parks to add value, to add to process, so that we get more value from our production. And if you saw this, this is when is today? Sunday. If you saw last week, we just advertised for the infrastructure of our 6 special economic zones. again, these will become engines of exports because we have to grow our exports. We need to stem imports into Kenya, but we need to increase more exports so that we can get more revenue, grow jobs locally. And you see, my focus is to make sure that we expand the space of people who are working. And it is going to be deliberate. It's going to be difficult, but it must be deliberate. That is why housing is one plank where we're going to create jobs. Agriculture is another space in the special economic zones and the exports and that space. We're going to grow jobs. The digital space, which I have negotiated with Facebook, I've negotiated with Meta, for us to have digital jobs in Kenya. You already know that the number of people who are working in the digital space, and we are going to export more labor. As I talk to you here, there are people being trained in NYS today for people who are on the space of export of labor. Because we have to have
identify them?
Interventions. We have to have, I mean, it is different. They are nurses. They are adverts that the Ministry of Labor goes out to look for them.
Mheshimiwa Rais, kuhusiana na ada ya nyumba umeitaja, unafahamu kwamba kuna Wakenya wengi bado hawajaridhia, licha ya kwamba kuna agizo kutoka mahakamani, na nakumbuka juzi ukiwa kwenye mkutano wa diaspora pia